Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany Moreno, and my partner and I are debating that the U.S. should abandon the use of the death penalty. I have three main points that will all have sub-points. First is that the death penalty is immoral. Second, the death penalty is inefficacious. And third, that the U.S. should abandon the use of the death penalty. So first, the death penalty is immoral. It is an unjust means of prosecution. A society that respects life does not deliberately kill human beings. An execution is a violent public spectacle of an official homicide, and one that endorses killing to solve social problems. The worst possible example to set for citizens, and especially children. Governments worldwide have often attempted to justify their lethal fury by extorting the portrayed benefits that such killing would bring to the rest of society. The benefits of capital punishment are elusive, but the bloodshed and the resulting destruction of community decency is real. It is inhumane. The latest model of inflicting the death penalty enacted into law by more than 30 states is lethal injection, first used in 1982 in Texas. It is used to overstate the humaneness. It is easy to overstate the humaneness and efficiency of this method. One cannot know whether the lethal injection is really painless, and there is evidence that it is not. As the U.S. Court of Appeals observed, there is substantial and uncontroverted evidence that execution by lethal injection poses a serious risk of cruel, protracted death. Even a single error in dosage or administration can leave a prisoner conscious but paralyzed while dying, a sentient witness of his or her own asphyxiation. In addition, innocent people are too often sentenced to death. Since 1973, over 156 people have been released from death row in 26 states because of innocence. Nationally, at least one person is exonerated for every 10 that are executed. And for my next point, it disagrees with the Constitution. Capital punishment is cruel and unusual. It is cruel because it is a relic of the earliest days of barbaric punishment. Executions have no place in a civilized society. It is unusual because the U.S., of all westernized industrial nations, engages in this punishment. Capital punishment denies due process of law. Its imposition is often arbitrary and always irrevocable, forever depriving an individual of the opportunity to benefit from new evidence or new laws that might warrant the reversal of a conviction or the setting aside of a death sentence. Capital punishment violates the constitutional guarantee of equal protection. It is implied randomly and discriminatorily. It is imposed disproportionately upon those whose victims are white, offenders who are people of color, and of those who are poor and uneducated, and concentrated in certain geographic regions of the country. Since the revival of the death penalty in the mid-1970s, about half of those on death row at any given time have been black. More striking is the racial comparison of victims. Although approximately 49% of all homicides are white, 77% of capital homicide cases since 1976 have been involved in a white victim. And to my second point, that the death penalty is inefficacious. First, it is costly. In a 2017 study by Susquehanna University, they found that each death penalty inmate is approximately $1.12 million, more than the general population inmate. This greater-than-life cost comes from more expensive living conditions, a much more extensive legal process, and increasing resistance to the death penalty from chemical manufacturers overseas. The cost could even become higher depending on the outcome of various lawsuits against various states for their botched executions. Next, it is an extensive and lengthy process. In an article by Death Penalty Information Center, they state that the length of stay on death row is typically over 10 years. Because of the large number of death penalty cases, there's often a backlog of appeals at each level of the appellate courts. In addition, a shortage of experienced post-conviction lawyers compounds this problem. In some states, such as California, inmates must wait years just to be assigned to an appellate counsel. Moreover, many death sentences are overturned on appeal, requiring a second sentencing trial, further appeals, and more time before executions can take place. Next, it has no public safety benefit. In addition, in an article by AmnestyUSA.org, it states that in April 2012, the National Research Council concluded that studies claiming that the death penalty affects murder rates were fundamentally flawed because they did not consider the effects of non-capital punishments and used incomplete or implausible models. And in addition, the murder rates in non-death penalty states has remained consistently lower than the rates of states with the death penalty. Furthermore, a 2009 poll commissioned by the Death Penalty Information Center found police chiefs ranked the death penalty last among ways to reduce violent crimes. The police chiefs also considered the death penalty to the least effective, efficient use of taxpayers' money, which leads me to my next claim, that the U.S. should abandon the use of the death penalty. So the U.S. should abandon the use of the death penalty because of my previously stated reasons that it is immoral and inefficacious. And once the policy is abandoned, we believe the funds would be better spent on increased prison security and crime deterrent resources. In an article by National Institute of Justice, they state that increasing the severity of punishment does little to deter crime. So, in conclusion, I have stated that the U.S. should abandon the use of the death penalty because the death penalty is immoral. It is an unjust means of prosecution. It is a society that respects life does not deliberately kill human beings. It is inhumane. It disagrees with the Constitution. Capital punishment is cruel and unusual. Capital punishment denies due process of law. Capital punishment violates the Constitution, the constitutional guarantee of equal protection. And the death penalty is inefficacious because it is costly, it is an extensive and lengthy process, and it has no public safety benefit. And the U.S. should abandon the use of the death penalty for previous reasons, and that the funds would be spent on increased prison security and crime deterrent resources. And this concludes my speech. Thank you.